statements. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to explain what a nested if function is. You should be able to understand why a single if function is sometimes not enough. You should be able to differentiate between a simple if function and a nested if function. You should be able to understand how Excel evaluates multiple conditions. You should be able to write nested if formulas correctly. You should be able to apply nested if functions to grading systems and real-life business scenarios. You should be able to identify common mistakes and avoid them. So the need for multiple decisions. So look at this situation. The security guard asks, do you have an ID card? If your answer is yes, you enter, and if your answer is no, you do not enter. Another situation whereby a university lecturer is trying to know that, okay, did you pass your mathematics? If yes, okay, did you pass English? If yes, okay, did you meet the cutoff mark? If yes, then did you now upload your documents on the portal? Yeah, so that means there needs to be an answer for each question to make a final decision. In this case, we cannot just depend on the if statements that gives us just one, two options. So what does the word nested mean? The word nested means something placed inside another thing of the same type. So the reason why it is called nested is because if statement is placed inside an if statement. So the moment we have if inside if inside if inside if, that is why it is called the nested if statement. Okay, so the simple if function versus nested if function. So simple if function makes one decision while nested if function makes multiple decisions. Simple if function returns two possible results while nested if function returns three or more possible results. Simple if function is easier to write while nested if function is more complex but more powerful. Simple if function is used for simple conditions while nested if function is used for multiple conditions. Examples. So simple if function is what we have where we have condition, then value if true, and the value if false. While the nested if is where we have the if placed inside another if. So that might come with so many conditions and so many answers before we eventually determine our results. Okay, so when writing the if function, nested if function, there are a lot of mistakes that could make. Number one, checking the lowest score first. Yes, Excel will always check from the first thing you write. So once it met a condition that is satisfied, it will just keep and give you the answer. So it means when you are writing, the higher condition has to come first. The higher score has to come first with its condition. Another thing is forgetting your quotation mark, missing commas between arguments, missing the closing bracket, and using the wrong reference. Nested if functions can be applied in various spheres. For example, schools assigning letter grades, determining academic classifications, and evaluating examination results. Can be used in banks, can be used in businesses, hospitals, government agencies. Maybe you want to verify applications to know people that are eligible. You want to classify beneficiaries. Maybe you are setting up a beneficial system such that some people get 50,000, some people get 100,000, some people get 200,000. You want to classify them. You can make use of the nested if function. Okay, so if you look at this now and you want to make use of the nested if, you can just say equals to if. So we pick the first one. Now, what is the logical text? The logical text will be this is greater than or equals to 70. So what should be the value if it is true? Return A. So we want A to be a text. So that's why we have to put it in quotes. Comma. So what will be the value if it is false? If it is false, check another if. So you input another if function inside it. That is why it is nested if. So check another if. And now you now check if that same E2 is greater than or equals to 60. Then here, what do we return? We return B. Right? So what happens again? We check another if. So pick another function and see again if E2 is greater than or equals to 50, and then we return C. Right? So what do we do again? We check again another if, and now we check again if E2 is greater than or equals to 40, then return for me D, right? So let's say this is a system where any other thing aside from D is f. So after a comma, which is this, we will now have what? Return f. That will be our otherwise. That will be our otherwise. Then we close. Now when you are closing, you have to close with respect to, so you see the color is working, aligning, so I can know by the color which one am I closing until it gives me the black, which is the last one. Then I enter. You can see it gives me my results. So you have to be very careful when entering your formula, and this is the value. Everything well done. So, but then instead of you having to enter this kind of log formulas and if, you can just use ifs. There is a function ifs. So when you pick the ifs, this gives you logical text. That's this place is greater than or equals to 70. What will be the value if true? The value if true is what? A, right? Comma, what will be the value if false? So instead of value if false, see that it brings another logical text, right? So what's the logical text now? The logical text is what? The next logical text is that if this same place is greater than or equals to what? 60, it should return B, right? Then we have another logical text 3. If still that same place is greater than or equals to 50, you should return C, right? Then we still have the same spot greater than or equals to 40. It says then you should return D, right? And then now we are now having, now we are supposed to, the next thing here is supposed to be the value if false, right? So instead of value if false, we are just going to say if this place now is now what? Less than, because for these ifs you have to close it, there is no value if false. So less than 40, that's any other value, just return what? Return fail. Then close it. Then we still have the same thing. So if we look at it, we fill it down, it gives us the same values. So you can use any of them, whichever one works best for you.